Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Tier 2 Talk. It's, I would say it's been a minute, Josh, but it has quite literally been like 60 seconds since our last episode. Quick turnaround here as we're joined by Sense from Apeks. Welcome in, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Yeah, we've
Nice.
had some Norwegians on the show before. They were quite enthusiastic, I want to say, right? They gave us a bit of laughter, so pressure's on Sense to give us, the same atmosphere.
I will try my best.
Uh, I would say a lot to talk about, Josh. I think we covered like half of it in the last episode, but there's still a fair bit that we can go through now.
Yeah, there is.
Like, you'd be surprised how much happens in Tier 2 Counter-Strike, you know, even in a couple of nights. So, straight into the deep end for us, at least. Real quick, we're starting off with talking about Apeks as a team in 23 and 24, because obviously we were just saying before, Josh, you know, we had a reminiscence of Apeks last year with Kixan. So now we've got some new blood in the team to talk about maybe your time here, Sense, as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
where do
well,
you want to start with it, Sense? How did maybe the first one is like how did it come together? Playing from the academy team to the main team.
it happened like honestly, I got kind of shocked because I just moved across the country and still playing for the academy team, and then just out of the blue, I think it was after they went out of or yeah Pro League, and then I got a message and they asked me if I wanted a trial, and I said of course, and yeah, then I played a trial with them, went to Sydney, and I performed in Sydney, and yeah, just kept on going. Then I got the contract.
So was the initial outset like from your perspective, like, oh, okay, for me, I wanted like a couple of events to kind of prove it. You know, maybe if it doesn't come in, then they just go with someone else. Like, did you believe that they were going to pick you up permanently when you got the first few events in?
Mm, I was not sure, to be honest. Like, the mindset I had, I remember Sydney. The mindset I had was just like, go play the tournament, do your best, and if it's not enough, it's not enough. Like,
Mm.
I mean, that's kind of the mentality I had throughout the whole trial. Because if I'm thinking about how I perform and stuff like this, I feel like I'm just putting more pressure on myself. So I just thought that I will try my best, and if it's not enough, it's not enough.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so after Sydney, I think either the next LAN or maybe the one after was Espo, and obviously I was there. I saw you guys there. What was that like? Because obviously that was a really quick grand final. I suppose from just the whole outset, right? You kind of come in for this academy team. You're playing with local players now in an international project, and within only a couple of events or even a couple of months of legitimately joining the team, you're in a grand final.
Yeah, I mean, uh, Lisa Masters like this at Helsinki. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to call it, but this event was really special for me. Like we got to the grand final. I, I honestly we didn't expect it ourselves. We was hoping to get to the playoffs, and when we got to the final, we were really happy. And yeah, the experience overall was really good. Like never played at a or I played a LAN, but it's like with 200 people in the Norwegian Championship. So this was something else when you are coming into an arena and actually playing in front of a lot of people.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Get a little bit of the taste of success. I kind of want to like get an idea of maybe now transitioning into this year. What the future for the team looks like. Have you got some like realistic goals and maybe expectations of where you see Apex? I don't know, from now till maybe the end of the year.
I mean, I don't think we have that like. I mean, of course, we have the goal of qualifying to the next major, Shanghai. But other than that, I don't feel like we have any long-term goals at the moment. We are just focusing now on Melbourne, trying to win that event and secure us a spot in Pro League. So right now, like all the focus is on that event and nothing else.
Hmm.
Fair
Don't
enough.
forget to get some insight about roster changes, Ryan.
Well,
Yeah, we could do.
Yeah. Because what's the last one been? The coach, right? That thing haven't really had many changes like this year at least, or at least no, maybe it was an extension this year actually
Uh, I
for
don't remember if
Mythar.
the yes, yeah. So
Yeah, because
Mythar
he got
signed,
extended this year, didn't he?
yeah.
Recently.
In the 13th of March, he's
Mm.
signed a contract extension.
Three
So
years.
yeah, 3-year contract extension. So I guess like for you with that then sense like not just with Mythar because obviously he's quite an experienced player like coach as well for you and he's been about since like 2016, right? As a whole, like going from academy to main team, just kind of backpedaling a bit, like what was it like for you being able to go from obviously playing with some of the Rebels players and you know maybe lesser experience, and then you obviously jump ship over to the Apeks side and you've got the likes of Jacob, you know, like Nork even, like you've got a lot of veterans of the game, I feel like, in that sense, with a lot of experience. Like how was adjusting for you at least to that?
I mean, it was a big adjustment. First of all, it was the language adjustment, like going from speaking Norwegian to English, and then like get used to that because like when I'm speaking Norwegian, I talk a lot faster. It's easier to talk a lot faster, but right now I don't feel any issues about it. Or it never was an issue, but just need to get used to it. And yeah, the change about playing with the more experienced players was a lot. Like people were reacting faster, people were shooting harder, and there was more tactical depth to it than it was in the academy team. So, I mean, for me, joining a team with experienced players was also kind of nice because you're playing with people that are reacting faster. You know, like they don't use that extra second and 2 seconds to think about if this is the right or wrong decision. They're just going for it, and if it's the wrong decision, they are like, ah, I fucked up. Like, just move on to the next. You know. So the for me also it was an adaptation to be able to react at the same pace as they were.
Yeah, I mean, maybe something as well is obviously when you were on the lineup, you're an IGL that wasn't IGLing. So maybe you could give us a bit of insight to how that was going. Was the idea eventually to transition you into an in-game leader, or at the time was it just to be a rifler on the team? Because I think from the outset, a lot of people, if they see you join and see you sort of join for a few events and play some more trials, you're kind of thinking, oh, okay, maybe Kicksan comes out of the picture, maybe you come in. How did it look from the team on the inside?
I mean, I was never sure if the intention was to make me an IGL for the main team, but uh, when when Kixan left in December or something, uh, they asked me if I wanted to do it, and they were also looking at other options. So, it, like it just happened. Like I don't think it was planned or anything like that. It just kind of happened because of the major coming up, and it was solo time and stuff like this.
Okay. For anyone at home that's like watching out on the socials, obviously the Apeks Rebels played an official today, and you played with them. Now that academy team looks very different now than what it was when you were there. So are you going to be playing a lot of officials with these guys? Because I assume that you need the core three for the Norwegian tournament, right?
No, the thing was that yeah, you have to have the core if there has been other players playing the season, but this was just like a random step in because
Oh, okay.
they couldn't fulfill their team.
Right. Okay. So we don't get to see a little bit of sense absolutely farming against like tier
Maybe,
three players. Yeah. Yeah.
maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. I suppose as well, like you live in Norway, right?
Yes.
Yes, you live there permanently. So are you at the boot camp facility frequently, or how does that work? Are you only there when the team is boot camping?
No, I mean yes. Whenever the team is boot camping, I'm for sure there, and sometimes I go in there to do some other work or some other business at the office, like interviews and filming and stuff like this. But normally I just play from home.
Hmm. Yeah, makes it easy for all parts. Yeah. Anything else you want to add on this one, Ryan, before we sort of move on a little bit more?
No, I think it's about time we talk about some events a little bit more, Josh. Because
Actually, there is one
oh,
thing
go on.
just before now I remember. How much do you guys work with the academy team? Like, do you scrim one another? Do you maybe like pass down demo watching with them? Like, is there much collaboration between the main team and the academy team?
I wouldn't say it right now because the academy team is. I'm not really sure what's happening with the academy team, but I mean I'm good friends with all of them because we played together in the academy team. I know 3 of their players, so we're good friends and we play here and there. But there's no like asking if I can watch a demo with them or stuff like this.
Okay. Maybe we'll get an idea, Ryan. Could there be an academy player to join up on the main team in like a year's time, 2 years' time? I mean, it happens with all the other orgs, right? It
Yeah.
happened with Sens, so
Yeah?
you got to expect that in a few years' time, it could very well happen again.
Apeks go full
Yeah.
Norwegian, bring in the whole academy team. Yeah. Real quick then, just to switch things over. Obviously, we've got some more events that we can talk about, Josh. You know, we did have a good yap earlier about it. we wanted to talk about the major first and foremost. I think for you, Sense, as well, this is probably quite the topical chat to have. Just again, like obviously historically, major being the biggest event in the world, and this is your first one. You came in through RMRB. Do you want to start with the RMRs, maybe, Josh, or do you think that's too far back?
Can do, yeah. I mean, look, it gives us an idea of the road.
Yeah, something positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get there when all the wins were coming.
Yeah. I'm down.
So yeah, just then quickly to bring it up on stream for everyone at home to see. We obviously have a little chat about the event obviously in the major. You guys started in RMR B, which we'll bring up here for everyone to see. 3-1, pretty solid performance for you guys overall. Obviously we were talking about like changes and things like that. Obviously you stepping into new roles in terms of IGLing for the main team and stuff. Like I guess the major was like one of the biggest tests for you guys as a team, right? So do you want to talk us through maybe a little bit about this, like the matches individually? You started by playing OG. How was that?
I mean, playing OG, I think we were pretty confident. Like, we knew that we knew what map we will play. We will play Ancient, and we knew that they will probably have a lot of anti-strat. And when we played the game, we felt it. They did, but we were pretty confident. Like at that time, Ancient was like it was our best map, and there was no one beating us on it online. So, I mean, I guess OG we were pretty confident that we would beat them.
And then what's that? What was the how close was the scoreline against the game against Cloud9? Can we get that one up, Ryan?
13-10.
Let's
Here we
not
go.
talk about this game.
Oh, okay.
No,
Now we have to talk about this.
This game. This one stung a lot, losing this one, because we were like up 8-4 on the T side Mirage, and I mean it was looking good, but we couldn't manage to get our CT side working, so they came back and owned us.
Just one of those games, was it?
Yeah, like when you're up 8-4, you're thinking, okay, just take the pistol now, and we're already on 11, you know. So it stung losing that game. I felt like we should have had that one, but we couldn't figure out how to play CT Mirage, and
yeah, and then you had Monty in the next game, and I think from our POV, Ryan, Monty obviously had the stand-in of Gizmy for day one, but then I think SDY came back for the game that you played versus him, didn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was look. I mean, that's obviously a very tough dynamic overall for Monty. They've had it quite tough with the roster changes as it is, but to have a mid-substitution RMR, I mean, other than maybe what was it when Chiron got booted out and Norbert came in, right? At one of the RMRs.
Yeah.
I think that's like the only time that I've seen that in recent history.
Yeah. SDY was ill, wasn't he? He had he was like really sick for. I think for media day he was sick, and they obviously called Gizmy up and brought him in for the first day, and then sent him back on the second. I guess it'll work for the better because he's on the main team now. But yeah, like obviously for you, Sense, then I guess trying to make the calls, and obviously you're probably part of the system in terms of like trying to understand how other teams play, like how you want to set yourself up as Apeks against Monty. Like obviously. Maybe give us like the timeline when you knew maybe the SDY was coming back, and like how much did your prep change? Because obviously SDY being in instead of Gizmy, like that must have threw you off a little bit, or at least like maybe changed some of your game plan.
Yeah, like we didn't know that SDY was playing until like the morning we played them. So our preparations was like I think I even said it in the vlog for that day. Like we don't know who's playing, so we'll just have to play against who it is. So our prep was very light, I would say. Like we were just looking at trying to find some tells on some different players, and then just go with that. But yeah, I remember it was really weird playing a team you don't know who's playing at a major. Like you don't know who is actually gonna be the last player, because we heard some rumors that Som Young was playing, and the other rumors said that he was not. So I mean, I remember the day before the Monte game, we were just sitting in the room and we just agree that, I mean, we just have to take this game tomorrow. Like we can't do anything tonight. We just have to do it tomorrow, and hopefully it will go good, and we manage to actually beat them pretty confidently.
I mean,
Fair enough.
obviously, Anubis being a pretty strong map for both teams, and Monty have in the past really liked their Anubis, pretty comfortable. And then obviously you get into the best of 3 game where you go up against Ecstatic, who I think we've certainly seen, at least in the tier 2 scene for a while, Ryan. They play good CS, right? Like they've got some good players. They're always like one of those teams where if you're like an up and coming team, if you can beat them, then you make a bit of a statement. But
Yeah.
I feel like for everyone's POV at the RMR and the major, like we just didn't expect a lot from them because they just don't play on LAN very often. Obviously,
Yeah.
they're a team that get very few qualifications to LAN. So what was it like maybe playing these guys? I mean, in hindsight, you'd have to say that it's obviously a very strong team to beat.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I remember the day before Ecstatic, we were sitting in the prac room and watching like I don't remember what game it was, but yeah, it was Mouse had to beat Spirit for us to meet Ecstatic. And I'm pretty sure they were sitting in the room because there were like 2 rooms besides us and also watching the game, and we could hear some celebrations for their room and from our room when Mouse beat Spirit, because both teams knew that we were going up against each other, you know, like getting the easier opponent. Um, but I mean, like this game was so like, I mean, there was for sure a lot of nerves, even though you have experienced players. Like even for me, like I'm pretty sure there was a lot of nerves because like there's a major on the line, and it's for us at least we had the mindset. It was maybe wrong, but Ecstatic was a team we should beat at that time. So for us there was a lot of nerves, and you can also see that in the way we play. Like a lot of dumb decisions. I think we even lose like a 3v1 on match point on Anubis to Salazar with an op, and yeah,
Oh,
all,
let's
all
go
of us
watch
could
that
just
one, Ryan. Let's get that
Yeah.
up.
Do you want me- Let's-
get it up, get it up.
Here we go.
Oh no.
Oh, could have
Yeah.
closed here.
Yeah.
Yeah. After we lost this, everyone was like, no, that was the major. Because you have shit money on the next one, and we actually managed to win it.
Oh, with the Tech 9 as well. No!
Oh, it's
There's
Jovo.
Oh,
a lot,
the
a
Norb
lot
tilt
of
at the
bullets.
end. Do you see
Yeah.
that? The mouse, look. Bang, bang, bang.
I mean, there was a lot of bullets that went into the wall in that when we were pushing him. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure we all thought that that was the major, because next round we had like MP9s and one M4 and no kit and stuff like this. So losing that was really mentally hard.
Fair enough.
Oh, well, yeah, got it in the end, I suppose.
I was gonna say we then move into maybe the bit
The
you
big
you wanna
dogs.
you wanna talk about less.
Yeah.
You started off with Pain on Vertigo, I guess is where we start things out. I don't know, Josh, about you. I've watched a little bit of Pain recently. They've been cropping up a fair bit in the South American scene and what have you. I feel like these guys are like the next talking point of Brazilian Counter-Strike, right? I mean, obviously outside
Yeah.
of the big names that you've got in like Imperial and what have you, like your Furias, like these guys do actually surprise me. On the day against Pain, like do you want to maybe talk to us a little bit about that and discuss? Maybe like what happened in not just maybe in the Pain game, but obviously you played 2 in the opening day, don't you? So maybe talk through day 1 a little bit for us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the Pain game, it was. I mean, there was nothing really special, to be honest. Like we had a very unlucky game. I remember. Now I don't remember the reasons why we had it, but I'm pretty sure we lost both pistols, and there was some one-on-one clutch we lost that we should have won, and stuff like this. So, I mean, I feel like there was a overall mood in the team. Like we were never really there on the server against all in the entire major. Like the focus was not there. We never got to get going, and against this Pain guys, we lost the pistol. We lost some crucial rounds, and yeah, I mean, when you're playing a major, you can't afford like starting late and getting into the energy and getting into the mood and the focus. Like you need to be there from the start, and like we were just not there, and that sucks.
Yeah, I think just to like roll in a bit of Pain. I mean, I remember casting them towards the tail end of last year, Ryan, when they were in those CCT Online finals. And I remember the morning of or the day before, we got told that like Casson and Skulls had just gone. And it's like, oh, well, who are they playing with? Like, we legitimately don't even know who Pain have. And then they get over like NQZ and Nissim. And it's like, I don't even really know what you're working with here, right? Like, you're working with pretty much a brand new roster. And look at the progression that they've been able to find. I mean, not only what 3-4 months later. I mean, Big Uzera obviously is a huge talking point at the moment. Like I think a lot of people are saying that he should go over to Furia and be gelling there. I don't know. I mean, obviously, now we saw what 2 weeks ago that there was the whole loan deal that didn't happen, where Nissan was out on loan from Sharks over to Pain, and both teams or organizations couldn't come to an agreement about getting him an extension or getting him a permanent fixture. So Pain's just down to 4 players. So I start wondering to myself as well: do they just get picked apart again? Do you maybe get a couple of pieces on Imperial, a couple of pieces on Furia, and the team's just basically folded?
Yeah, I mean it's like no better time if you're the likes of Furia or whoever to try and pick up a player, because you know the team's already in hot water. Obviously moving on from Pain, he then played Amcal, an OT game on Overpass, 8-4s for the CT sides in both. You close in OT. What do you think of the Amcal guys? Because obviously it's a name that crops up for us, Josh, at least a lot in Tier 2. So Sense, maybe like give us some insight on this team, right? Because obviously, again, we've seen some changes from at least this iteration to the new Amcal. Maybe talk us through this matchup and what you thought heading into it.
Yeah, against Amcal, we were like, we knew that their favorite map was kind of Overpass, and we knew they were really good on Overpass. So we tried to actually, what's it called, catch them a little bit off guard on the veto. Yeah, we thought we played Vertigo against Pain, and we gave them the decision to play Vertigo Overpass. So we left it open. We were pretty sure they were gonna pick it, because we saw they were like 0-4 on Vertigo or something at that time. And yeah, I mean, we did our preparations. We looked how they played. Like honestly, this game was so weird when we were playing it, because there were so many rounds that were like you wouldn't think it was a major being played. You would think it was like maybe a CCT group stage match, you know? Like there were so many weird rounds, and I mean, I felt like we just won this game because of individual level. Like we had more people popping off than they did, and even I played a good game in that game, so I think that helped a lot for the team.
Yeah,
Fair
okay.
enough.
And then on to day 2, Ryan. More Brazilian teams.
Yeah. Didn't sound too happy. Imperial in your BO1, and then you had Legacy in your 1 and 2 game. I guess yeah, as Josh said, it's like more Brazilians, right? Like it's tough game, I guess, on Overpass as well. Probably is maybe you can give us some insight into like the veto, if like in a particular event or whatever. Like if you're feeling a map, like obviously we were just talking about the fact that you beat Amcal on Overpass. You know that's a strong map for them. Is this just a case of you wanting to? Obviously you had the deciding pick as well. Is this just wanting for you to repeat yourself because of confidence, or did you like always want to play Overpass against Imperial? Like does form in a certain event like give you that extra like will to pick Overpass in this game and then the veto?
I mean, I can say that like we had this very serious issue about our map pool going into the major. Like we knew that the only 2 maps we were really confident in was Ancient and Anubis, and yeah, you can't go into a major and only be confident on 2 maps, at least not in these BO1s, because yeah, I mean they have so many vetoes they can just ban it, you know. So we knew that like we wouldn't be allowed to play Ancient or Anubis. Like watching the stats on how they are playing on the maps and how we are playing on the maps, they would 100% ban it. And if you scroll a little bit up, I'm pretty sure they did. Imperial ban Ancient and Anubis, yeah. So we kind of knew that like it's gonna be Overpass, it's gonna be Inferno, and we were more comfortable on playing Overpass than Inferno, so that's why we decided to choose the map. Instead of like choosing the side, we wanted to choose the map, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you did. You picked Overpass here, yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted to end up on Overpass instead of Inferno, and yeah, I mean like just Brazilian CS caught us off guard and owned us, you know. I mean, didn't get to go that. We didn't get to play that much CS against Imperial, and I'm pretty. Yeah, now I remember. We lost a very crucial 1-on-3 again on that T side, where not sure who it was. On Imperial, but they clutched their first buy round on the T side, so we never got to start that kind of fake comeback, you know. And then yeah, they just closed it out.
I think from the outset, right, like losing to Imperial from like a tier 2 perspective, you could say, okay, you could see that happening, right? Like there's some experienced players on there, it's a best one, maybe more of the conversation of the veto. But here in a best of 3 against Legacy, this is probably where it gets more rough, right? Like you should never ever be losing this game. I would even say losing a map is probably something that shouldn't happen. So was it just a day where you guys just fell off? Because I think when you look at your LAN performance previously, like as a team, right, and just the teams that you're beating, you should be beating Legacy every single day of the week.
Yeah, it's like I said, the major overall, I just feel like we wasn't there. Like we wasn't even the other maps. Like yeah, we can understand losing to Imperial, but like our energy level, like when we were winning rounds, we were not screaming. Like we were just sitting there and we were not screaming. We were not having fun when we were playing. Like there was like this tension in the team where it felt like almost like we had just reached the major, we had done what we wanted, and that's kind of it. Like I know that Jacob said it in an interview, and I kind of agree with him because like when we were playing the RMR, we had a completely different like fighting spirit. Like we were fighting for our lives. Like we were, every round we won, even if it wasn't equal. Like we were screaming our lungs out and stuff like this. But when we got to the major, like something changed, and I'm not sure. Like it's hard to pinpoint exactly what changed. Maybe it's the feeling of, yeah, we have done it. We are at a major. Now we can relax, you know. But yeah, like the entire major, like I feel like in this legacy game, the energy was starting to come there, but like we were screaming. We had a talk the day before we were playing them and telling each other like we need to step the fuck up. Like we are playing so fucking shit, and we need to get the mood up. We need to show energy. We need to show passion. And yeah, against Legacy, I just think it was too late. Like we never got to go going. Like
Yeah. I suppose there's another like different aura around the majors as well, Ryan. Is like we see a lot with these the tier 2 teams where, you know, they might say we're feeling really positive, we're feeling going deep, but there's always something in the water with a major. And I'm sure Sense, I mean, being a young guy like yourself, it's obviously a huge achievement to be at the major, but then to play at a major to get wins, I mean, it's so much more difficult than if you're playing at just any other LAN event or just any other online. So I think as an overall picture, were you satisfied with the run, or was it underwhelming? Was it kind of like, oh, we could have done better?
yeah, we could have done better for sure. Like I think that we actually qualified through the RMR was kind of surprising. Like yeah, we were a bit lucky with the drawings, but there was, in my opinion, we had a much harder group than the other group. So uh, just qualifying from the RMR at that moment, it was a very big achievement. Like everyone was so happy and stuff like this. But when we went out of the major, I think you can ask the whole team. Like everyone expected more. Like at least to go to the legend stage or at least winning 2 games. You know, like we, for sure we were expecting more.
Hmm. Maybe more fuel for the next RMR and obviously major cycle, which we've got later on in the year. Back to maybe a little bit of online, Ryan. I kind of wanted to chat on the Betpoom qual. We spoke about that in our last show with Max. But obviously for you guys, you went fairly deep here. Made it into the playoff stages, and unfortunately lost out to Amcal that you played on LAN, and then an Aurora side which Ryan, I don't know what's going on. They're just winning everything. Like they
Yeah.
just won that BetBoom Masters event, the Sky Sports Masters event, and then obviously they've just won this one to make it to the LAN. So maybe give us some thoughts on both of the playoff games here.
Yeah, against Amcal. Honestly, I don't really remember a lot from this game. See, yeah, we lost our own map pick. No, we won our own map pick, and then we lost Vertigo and Overpass. Yeah, yeah. Now I remember this Overpass because Vertigo, we kind of knew that we wouldn't stand a chance. Like the last month, we haven't been able to practice almost nothing, so we knew that Vertigo we haven't played in like 1.5 months since the major. Um, but so Vertigo I expected to lose kinda. But Overpass we were actually really confident. I'm pretty sure we started T-side on this map, and there was a lot of rounds we lost that we should have won. Like there was some clutches and stuff like this. Like when we go through these games, we're looking at the clutches and stuff like this. Of course, there's a tactical view, but I'm not gonna go into that. But there was a lot of clutches we lost, a lot of stupid mistakes where we were just not talking to each other. I mean, of course that happens, but you're not allowed to make those kind of mistakes to happen. So yeah, we just just didn't talk to each other. We lost the rounds we should have won, and yeah, then you lose the last map. I feel like Vertigo, as I said, was a map we kind of expected to lose or we were not confident on. So they had a good veto there. And the Ancient, we were pretty confident that we would win Ancient.
Okay, and then down into the lower bracket, Ryan, they go up against the Aurora side, which, again, I mean, I think from the score lines, kind of tells us stomped on home territory, right? You're Anubis, one of the better maps in the pool, but just couldn't hold off. Are they? What do you think about the Aurora form at the moment? Are they just a very scary team in Tier 2 to play?
Yeah, I would say so. They're good. They've now that they picked up this result guide, they have
Yeah.
really hard shooters. Like the entire lineup. Like the only player I see maybe lacking a little bit is Lucky because he's the in-game leader. But of course, this game he's top fragging, you know. But I mean, like if you look at result in Kenzie, Deku, and Norway, like there's 4 people that are shooting extremely hard and stuff like this. So I mean, you should never underestimate the Aurora.
Do you know what, Ryan? They kind of remind me a lot of Entropic in the idea that there was never a player that we would always watch out for, right? Like you'd
Yeah.
kind of go into a best of 3 and you'd be like, oh, maybe Crad's playing really well or Forrester's really consistent, and then the best of 3 would just end, and it would just be either a Crad show, it'd be a really good performance from Forrester, or maybe Elian would have that's kind of the vibe I get with Aurora right now, is that it legitimately can be any of these guys being really consistent, putting up really good numbers. I want to say even in the group stage of this tournament, you took on Koi and Fnatic, which I would say Koi, like, they did quite well at the major, but they struggle online. I don't know why. Like, different iterations of this team has always had some rough online performances, and then you had to beat Fnatic on a rematch to make it into the playoffs. What do you think of that team? Because I would say they're similar to you, where people at home probably wouldn't classify them as a tier 1 team, but they play in tier 1 events. So what do you think of this Fnatic team?
I think Fnatic has. I think they have a cool lineup. Like I think when you look at the players, I think they have a cool lineup with like Mattis and QB and Afro. Like it's different nationalities, and I mean I think it's cool. Fnatic, I think they are a good team. Like they beat us once, but they didn't beat us twice. But yeah, they're a cool team. They play some big events just like us, and I mean, I think they are in the same boat as us. Like they have some events they can maybe perform at, and then they have some, like they're not consistent. I would say, kind of the same issue as us. Like we're not consistent enough to be at the top, you know. So I mean, it's hard to get consistent, but that's what needs to that's what you need to achieve to be able to be at a tier 1 team.
And maybe that drives in more conversation of ECL, a league where I suppose the qualification to Pro League is very vital for a lot of these squads. A lot of teams only play ECL to try and make the Pro League run happen. Very underwhelming round robin stage from you guys. I think from just the outset, you'd maybe say that you should be going 5-0 here. I mean, there isn't really any top-end Tier 2 teams. Perivision's been quite rough recently. I mean, I know they were obviously 5-0, but just from the outset, Ryan, like, they've been quite rough. 3D Max, obviously, without Haji. Bait, you've got Hetrick kind of coming in, Wrinkle out. Forza, the lineup's kind of dead, like, they're using stand-ins, and we don't really know what to say with them. And then, obviously, Team Space, where we're not expecting anything from them. So, maybe give us an idea, like 1 and 4, just something seems like it's not right here.
Yeah, I mean, like we have some problems right now that we are trying to deal with. I mean, we have been in a what's it called, like a low period for a while now, since I would say since the RMR, like we were in that low period. It started at the major, and then when we got home, we just never were able to kind of pull ourselves out of it. I mean, yeah, we're having a low period. We're losing to teams we should beat. And I mean, like I won't go that much into the details about what the problems is, but there is some underlying problems in the team right now.
Okay. Maybe a conversation could be, is it a struggle to transition LAN to online? I mean, to kind of be at the RMR, beat some decent teams, go to the major, and now you're playing fucking ECL, like, round robin, where you're playing teams outside of the top 50 on HLTV. Is there maybe some of that where you're not getting the same out of the players or the same out of the team, depending on the environment?
Yeah, I think that might be a factor, but yeah, it might be a factor to that. But like our map pool right now, our play style is not at the top notch. Like we are just not sure how to fix it, and we are working our asses off right now and putting in these extra hours. And yeah, like right now the only focus is Melbourne. What's in the past has happened in the past. Like
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean that's at least our focus point, and we know where the mistakes are lying, and we're trying to fix them as fast as
Yeah.
possible.
All right. Well, obviously they're in the low group now, Ryan, which is
Yeah.
stage 2.
Look, I was gonna say before we jump into talking about like the games and stuff, can we just like real quick? Like, I hate to bring this up the way it is, but
Okay, go on then. Go
I
on then.
remember when ECL, even like when it was MDL or like you know, like ESL Challenger League, like the first season it became ESL Challenger League,
Yeah.
it was so straightforward to follow, right? And now it's like we've got group stage, and imagine just being like your average Joe, like you're just average Counter Strike enjoyer, and you're like, oh, I want to follow this tournament, and you fucking, what is this? Like, there's so much going on in terms of like matchups, and it's cool because it means we do get a lot of like CS, I guess, on our screens in that sense, Josh. I mean, there's a lot more
Yeah.
games played in ECL
There is.
this way than the other, because when it was like MDL and whatever, right? It used to be,
round robin back then.
yeah, it was what was it? 24 teams, 2 groups of 12. You play, or maybe even less than that, and you played everyone once, and then it was just
I
like,
think you did, yeah.
and then it was just like one like Elim bracket playoff. Like it might have been single or double.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I mean, yeah, crazy new new like system, I guess, the format that we have here.
I think it gives a lot more chances to teams. Like if you
Yeah.
do well in the round robin, you basically go to playoffs. Like even if you go and lose your opening game, like you go in lower bracket, and then if not, you drop down to the one after. So yeah, there's more chances. I mean, I would say in your low group, you guys should be beating every team there. There's only, I believe, 2 spots, right? Like it doesn't really show the proceeds to playoffs, but I imagine winning upper bracket final and winning lower bracket final gets you into the playoffs. So not actually that many spots for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean for us, like I tried to say like we should beat the teams like we should beat, but right now I'm gonna say it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a fight.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter
Okay.
who we're playing against.
Well, at least you can show a little bit of your True colours out here in Melbourne. Now, this is where I can rip in a little bit, Ryan.
Oh,
with
here we
this,
go.
This Melbourne event. Obviously, being from Australia, you know, you want to see the best Australian representation at this event.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Brev, the Oceanic qualifier to this LAN, it's like who's even playing? Like there's no Vortex, there's no like ex Greyhound at the time. Like fair enough, Rooster obviously got the like local invite, but I think the reason for this is that the Oceanic teams were like in the RMR. I can't remember exactly what it was.
They
but
started
they weren't...
the 15th of the second. Do you want me to have a little look? Let me have a look at
Yeah.
events and see what was going on. Recent events. When did I say? 16th of the
15th.
second. Oh, you're not gonna. It'll be S tier,
did.
won't it?
No, it won't. It'll just go to the Valve events.
Oh yeah.
Brev's chalking it.
Here we go.
Oh, no, maybe not.
Maybe not. I mean,
No, not for the Asian teams. I don't know what it was. Whatever it was, I remember that like Rooster, Greyhound couldn't play in it. And then obviously like Vertex couldn't play in it either. So even for Sunday school, like I recognize a few of these guys, but like it's a laughing stock of an invite, right?
Yeah.
Like, for a qualification team because they're gonna get absolutely smoked. These guys like obviously playing pro in Oz is like just a fever dream. So these guys like are basically full time, either university or like full time work, and just play CS on the side. And they're going up against like Apeks, MIBR, like Aurora, like I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit wild. Like fucking the Asian qualifier, the Asian teams have been unreal recently. How is New happy there? Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? Yeah, I don't know. It's a very odd event. Party astronauts in the North American qualifier, so not even like a liquid or complexity coming in. What do you think about this event, Sense? Because I would say there's a lot of lower caliber teams than what these challenger lands normally are.
Yeah, I think I mean, I think that's why we are setting our expectations a little bit high, because like when you look at the teams, like there is teams like we can beat and we should beat. So I mean, it's gonna be hard because like you have to travel so far for a challenger event, like 30 hours. So you need to be sharp on the what's it called, the day your what's it called, like your when you sleep, you know, like your when you turn
Oh,
around you're sleeping.
Yeah,
yeah,
like
the
the
jet
sleep
lag.
schedule and yeah.
Yeah. So you need to be sharp on the sleep schedule and stuff like this, and you don't have a lot of days to do that. So that might be a bad thing, but yeah, when I look at these teams, I feel like you have I haven't heard of like New Happy and Sunday School, and I heard about Rooster, but not the players.
Yeah.
So there is like some teams that I'm kind of excited to see how they play because I've never heard of them.
I mean, obviously, Rooster, they've played in a couple of Pro League seasons, and from time to time, they take like maps off of some Tier 1 squads. So this will be kind of nice in their hometown to at least show what they can offer. Like, I would say in the field, even Rebels, I don't know what to think about them because they did quite well in Cato, and then
Yeah.
that's kind of been it. Like,
Yeah.
they've looked
Bit-
really rough
Bit
online.
MIA, yeah.
Yeah, so they've kind of brought Innocent in as well. I don't know if you saw it, Ryan, but they put the tweet out when SNX basically got benched, and the whole framing of the tweet from like the players and the organization was like SNX is going to like the next stage, like he's getting picked up. I'm like, Brev, where's he going? And then SNX comes out and he's like, yeah, I've just been kicked. Like I'm not going anywhere. And I'm like, okay. So
I didn't see that. That's funny though.
Their in-game leader that took them into a pretty good position in Gato has just been gone. Innocent's come in. So yeah, I suppose between you guys, maybe MIBR and Aurora, like that's the three that everyone's going to look at. And then between Rebels, Party Astronauts, I mean, we haven't seen like Benley and that play at a LAN event for a little while. Nice to see those guys still kicking it about.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think like the frag event that 7am went to and Blackhand was probably the last time like PA were at an event, right? Middle of last year or
Yeah,
start of
could
last
be.
year.
Yeah.
Maybe they played in like some Americas.
A couple of others. Yeah.
Like American RMRs. I'm not sure if they made that. I wasn't too up to date on that. So,
Mm.
I mean, by the looks of things, they've literally played qualies all year so far.
Yeah.
Like literally only qualies. The last time we saw them was oh, of course, the Blast Fall Showdown. The American Showdown.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In October last year. So.
Mm.
Yeah, it's been a while, so it'll be cool to see them in action. I'm excited to see how MIB are doing that event as well, I must admit. That's like one of the names I'll be keeping my eye on a little bit more.
I think they were like another one, because obviously, I mean, you faced off against a lot of Brazilian teams at the major, but they were the ones that weren't there, which was quite surprising. I think from the field, you would rank at least MIBR like above a Legacy, maybe. Like you would expect with the seeding and just the teams at the RMR that MIBR would be one of them. To qualify to the major. So they're probably looking for a bit of redemption. I feel like they could very easily get into a grand final, at least the playoffs at a bare minimum at this land. So we'll see what the Brazilians are cooking.
Hopefully. Do you want to... Go on,
I was
sorry,
just going
Josh.
to say, you've been to Sydney before. Is that the only time you've been to Oz?
Yes.
Yeah, good to see what
First
Melbourne's like.
first time, and yeah, it's kind of cool to go like to somewhere else than Sydney, you know, like getting to see Melbourne instead of going to Sydney again. I think it's funny to like look at these places and how the other countries are. That's one of my favorite parts of like doing this, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Melbourne, I mean, I don't really know too much about it. It's a little bit more trendy than Sydney. But Sydney's like always kind of been the home of esports to an extent in Oz. So it is nice to see like another city is kind of getting some exposure. And do you know what? It's funny. Now I remember this. So I think there was a vlog. We were talking about it earlier, since the vlogs. When you're in Sydney, right? I think you were in like the convenience store in Sydney, right? And you're like picking out all the Australian snacks. And I remember I think I sent Christian, the social media like camera guy at Apeks a message. Brev, none of those snacks were like Australian. Like literally, like 20% of them. I was like, oh yeah, that's Australian. I was like, that's American. That's English. That's American. I was like, what's happening? How have they gone to try all of these Australian snacks that aren't Australian? So I'm hoping this time around you can actually get it right.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Like with the main focus was trying this Vexite thing.
Oh, the
that was the main focus. Yeah, Vegemite.
Vegemite, yeah. Vegemite's unreal.
I didn't like it that much, but it's
Did-
okay.
Did you have it on toast? How did you eat
No,
it?
we had it. We had to buy some crackers, like
Okay.
crackers, and then we put it on top.
Yeah, so that's it's got to be like toasted bread, heavy butter, and then light on the Vegemite. That's how you got to do it perfectly.
Okay, okay. Then I need to test it out when I go to Melbourne.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a tweet, and
will.
it's like a selfie with him with like one bite out of the toast. It's like, this is shit. It's like,
Yeah, this is not the one.
yeah, you liar, you liar.
Well, that's actually pretty soon, though. The Melbourne event. It's only in like
Yeah.
under 2 weeks.
Yeah, starts in the 26th of the 4th. So yeah, starts
Yeah,
in
pretty soon.
a week and
Yeah.
5 days. There you go.
Yeah, cool. All right, we can move on to some roster changes now, Ryan. There's actually been quite a few
Yeah.
in the last couple of weeks, even considering everything. I would say from the outset, we've seen a couple of organizations move lineups. The Gaming Gladiators picked up
Yeah.
the Ecstatic roster. Now, in the past, I think if you followed the North American scene, you know that Gaming Gladiators is like a Canadian org that had the like nouns guys, like the Carson, the CJ, like those kind of guys, but they weren't around for too long. So to see them back into the space, I don't know what to think about this. Like I'm sure that it might mean these guys get more exposure to North America. Like I don't know. Like I don't know what to think about it. I mean, a Danish team signing up with a Canadian organization.
Yeah. I don't know. I will say that I saw a lot of hate. I obviously me and Zip will like chat every now and again, and I saw on his Twitter people were saying like, oh, like he sold out the team. By the sounds of things, he really didn't. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, people
pretty
clutching at straws in that
Yeah.
sense. Zip was a really nice guy as well. So, yeah, look, it's a shame. Obviously, he didn't want to see his team go, but I guess for bigger and better things, you know, Ecstatic obviously releasing their team to Gaming Gladiators. A couple of other things as well, like in terms of org changes as well, right? Like, I guess a UK one is ex-Coalesce joining Raptors now. That's like the third team that Raptors have picked up after the disaster that was the team that shall not be mentioned. I think as well as that, like we have like a few other bigger changes as well, right? We talk about maybe Secret first, Josh, and work our way down.
Yeah, I mean the secret one. I mean this is probably a little bit further down the pecking order in tier 2, but they picked up No PJ, who's obviously like a Portuguese player, and then they picked up Innocent or the Innocent went over, I should say, and No PJ kind of replaced him. And then they picked up Juve, so there's like kind of that connection, obviously from Into the Breach over here to Secret, the Portuguese representation between the two. That lineup on paper looks pretty good. Like you've got Maze, obviously the in-game leader that lasted like 2 best of 3s on Sprout.
Yeah.
And then you've got like an Arquez on the big green. There's some good pieces, but we aren't really seeing them play that frequently on HLTV. So maybe now with the CCT circuit, like they might get featured a bit more on HLTV, get some higher rankings. The bait one's quite intriguing. I don't know how you'd look at it, Sense. Obviously, Hetrick gets a really good opportunity of going over to NIP, and now he's going on bait, and it's sort of like, it's quite a step down, isn't it? Like, I know you're playing with your homeboys, and I'm sure that he'll have some fun over there, but to kind of go from playing, what, a tier 1 circuit for the last 6 months, 9 months or so, and now kind of going back to possibly not even playing a LAN for a while. What do you think about that one?
I mean, I don't really know that much about Hedrick, if I'm gonna be honest, but like taking a step back, I don't think that doesn't have to be negative. Like it can also be positive because now I'm not sure how he did it in NIP. Like I didn't watch his stats and stuff like this, but I mean sometimes it's nice to like take a step back and kind of find yourself in a way, and get back to that form you used to, and maybe find your confidence. And I think that like it's very easy to go into tier 1 and lose your confidence. So, I mean, I think it can be good for him to go back and find his confidence, and I'm very sure that he will be picked up by another. Like he will get another chance, like for sure. I think
at least he gets out of that shit show of NIP, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for someone like him playing on Navi Junior, I think he probably had a lot of pressure himself. Like there was a lot of people being like, "Oh, is this the next Monacy?" Right? Like if Monacy could do it, then Hetrick might be another one. And you're kind of going into a lineup that keeps changing. It's changing its sort of whole dynamics of who's the in-game leader, what some of the riflers are, playing with academy players. Like, I'm sure just getting out of there was like the best thing possible.
Yeah.
And then Baz came in as well, who obviously was on Spirit Academy. And to be fair to Bait, they've actually been playing fairly well recently, so this might set them back a little bit. But they might be a team towards a higher end of tier 2. Obviously, 9, this is a team that at the Blast, RMR, and at the Paris Major, like around that time, we were seeing a lot of. This is just them gone. Like, once they sold that core over to Ents, Minio's been benched, Kai's been benched, and then Tomiko, who was like a stand-in for Into the Breach for a little bit, he's the only player on that roster. So we could very easily see like 9 try something new. I've seen a couple of like tweets from like, you know, those like rumor accounts where they said that they're thinking about some like international players. I don't know. I mean, this is a Swedish org that obviously had a Swedish team for many years. They then pick up a Polish team. It's insanely successful, and now it's just kind of all falling apart. So I kind of do feel for 9. Hopefully they can find their feet with a new team, because that kind of put Polish CS back on the map for like a very long time in tier 2. Another one that is quite intriguing is OG benching Regali. Now, here's something that I was kind of thinking about, Ryan. Maybe you can give the take on this first, and then I can kind of come in.
I think Regali's a very solid player. I think we saw him obviously play in Fnatic Rising, even on Fnatic, that short stint he had. He was a solid player. The only reason I could see him getting benched, respectfully, I hope that this is the reason why it happened, is, for me at least, I feel like there's a couple of players that I personally would get rid of before Regali, as individuals would say. My thought is that he gets bought out here, like another team's been interested in him, and the transfer is going to happen at some point, and you know, we're just waiting for like that PR release to happen. I like when we had him on the show, like obviously his ambition was to make it into a tier 1 level, and I think he's got the right tools to do so. Maybe it's a little bit too early for him. Like we were talking about head trick, right? I think NIP, as I said in the last episode, is becoming quite the OG, where we're picking up cool pieces, and like, you know, they are good individually, but the team just hasn't gelled, and that's obviously the case for OG. So maybe for Regali, I'd hope at least, you know, this is either a self benching to try and find another opportunity, or he's already been bought out by another team, and we'll move forward in that way.
Well, the way that I look at it, he was benched on Copenhagen Flames when he was doing really well, and there was a lot of question marks about it then. Obviously, they brought in, what was it, like Farlig at the time?
Yeah.
Like, the whole organization came apart a few months later. But I'm thinking back to back now, and it's like, well, is there other factors? Is there like, I don't know if it's like a mental issue. Is it maybe gelling with the players? Is it out of server stuff? Because at the time when he got benched on Copenhagen Flames, it didn't make sense to the naked eye. And this is now like another one where it's like, this is one of your better pieces just getting benched. So I don't know. Regali might be in a similar position as maybe like a Dexter, where it's like we see the performances on the server, but we just don't really know what else to expect. I don't know. I mean, Sense, what do you think of OG? Like, I even look at this team, and it's just any iteration, it's never felt like it's had the legs. It's never felt like that it can win something. That it legitimately is just a tier 2 team, when I don't think that's what the ambitions of the org or even the players are.
I think that Heavy God is insane.
That's
that guy
true.
Is
Yeah.
so good, so good. But like when you look at the roster, like you're not thinking like you're not scared of taking a duel against any of them other than Heavy God. Like when we played them in the RMR, like we were pretty confident that we would beat them on skill, because we have harder shooters with JKM, Noak, and Kakanito. So for me, on paper, I don't think they're that scary, but I think if they would have another carry other than Heavy God, I think there would be a team that actually could contend in like these lower tier 2 tournaments, you know, like to win them.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty cool, to be honest, Ryan, if like OG picked up someone like Boris and kind of had like a Boris Heavy God kind of showing, and get like 2 gun players. You know, I'm sure he's looking to kind of prove himself, like, after all the Falcons. I'll be surprised, no, honestly, because like I feel like I wouldn't even say it's a risk. I would actually say it's the perfect opportunity for a tier 2 team looking for a gun player, is to pick someone like him up, because from the outset, no one really wants him, right? Like, he's kind of like not poison, but you know, it's sort of like, oh, we'll look another direction. Whereas if you can get him and you can like nail him down, then you've got like an unbelievable player at this
Yeah.
level. So
I'm-
I am keen to keep my eye on where he goes.
I'm convinced that Boros was one of the most talked about like players when it came to his time in Monty, even on Endpoint. Like I remember the Endpoint
Endpoint, he
days,
was sick.
he was
Yeah.
frying on Endpoint, right?
Yeah,
And obviously that's why he got the shot at Monty and things like that. So yeah, absolutely. I think Boros is probably a cheaper option as well, right? Like obviously outside of the free agents, but for Falcons, probably just want to get rid of him. He's sitting on the bench. He's effectively a wage at the end of the month that Falcons don't need to pay.
Yeah, I would say they certainly need like a strong coach and IGL to work with him, right? Like,
Definitely.
I think we've kind of heard the factors on Endpoint and now on Falcons and stuff like that. You can't just like slide him into any team. But if you feel like you can, get as much out of him as possible and he can be a team player, then maybe I could see him going to some really good teams.
If you can tame the
Didn't
beast.
he play very good in Katowice as well? Or am I wrong?
In which one, sorry?
In Katowice?
Let me
In
have a look.
Katowice, sorry?
Yeah, I think he played pretty good in Katowice.
I
with
mean,
the
look,
Falcons.
you could kind of tell on Falcons, right? Like he
Yeah.
wasn't going to last that long, right? Just the whole idea of like, oh yeah, he's there, but he won't be for too long. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he can legitimately play on like a top 30 team like tomorrow. It's just again whether you can have those stronger pieces around him. I mean, touching back into the UK scene a little bit. Obviously with MMS going over to Exo Clan, Viperio picked up Scrimbo, which is like one of the Bulgarian players.
Oh,
So it's
Screamo, yeah.
they're going like a little bit more international change by change, and we're kind of getting less of the UK roots from them. So we'll keep an eye on them as much in the local scene, even though it's not really that local anymore. Like other than Pap, that's kind of it. The Young Ninjas picked up this Ek Caps.
Oh, yeah,
Brev, I have no
Casper Sky,
clue
yeah.
who this guy is. I don't know if you've seen him at all since, but he's got like 8 matches played on HLTV, and he's joining Young Ninjas.
I mean,
So
I'm pretty sure I played against him in Faceit, but I never heard about him or
Can we
heard
get his
anything about him.
HLTV profile up, Ryan?
Yeah, can do, mate. Hold on.
Yeah.
There you go.
17, pretty young.
Yeah.
He's played 9 maps in the last 3 months. Obviously, this is just NIP, been on it for 3 days. Who did he play for in these events? Let me have a quick look.
I think he was just like a stand-in. Was that Permitter in that?
Yeah, Permitter. Stood in.
PG Toro.
Yeah, PG Tura. Yeah, so I guess he's like Polish roots. I mean, look, if you're getting the gigs in with a lot of the tier 2 teams, Josh, in Poland, I guess, then clearly he's something to be talked about. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty wild to me, at least, that he comes out of nowhere. But then again, this is like, if he's a decent enough player, as Sense was saying, obviously if he's high level, face it, and he's playing in the games, like you got to think, like that Team Spirit Academy side with your donks and whatever, that was just a mesh together of just very young players that probably just play face it all day and whatever. So I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to be the new donk. That's not what I'm getting at here. But you know what I mean? Like, I guess for finding this young talent, that is probably your best place to go.
I would say the actual scouting of NIP Academy has been a lot better than the main team. Like they've actually had some decent players come in there. They've actually been playing quite well. So we'll see what happens there. And I think the only other one we're talking about changes with the roster, Espionage, which was like the Tricked guys. So your Cabby, Lucky, Quez, Iceberg, those guys. They obviously were on Tricked. Tricked basically just died. Espionage was born, and then Espionage has now just died. And Sashi's picked them up. So yeah, I don't know. We get to see them in some new colors. I don't think Sashi's ever been like a high-end, I suppose, org in the Danish scene. So now we kind of get to see them with some decent players. I think they've even got a LAN coming up fairly soon, but they're kind of like middle of the pack, tier 2 realistically. But yeah, just another whole team moving over to another one. But yeah, that's kind of all the changes there is at the moment. I mean, there's not that many that's going to only happen in a few days, is there, Ryan?
No, but we got through them fairly nicely. Sense, this is your time to shine, your knowledge. I feel like you could be quite good at this. We ask our guests to make a tier 2 team. So we're going to ask you basically to pick 5 players. It can be yourself, and you can pick up to one of your teammates to join you. You can pick any player in tier 2. Basically, imagine you're like some multi-millionaire. You've got all the money in the world, and you can buy a team of players that you may or may not be in. Basically, you're here to make a team. So I'll quickly bring it up for everyone at home to see. We'll have a chat while you're doing it as well. So yeah, you can pick yourself, one other teammate, and it's 5 players that you think would do very well in tier 2.
Okay, so when we're talking tier 2 here, what rankings? So I have
So
like an estimate.
the way we normally do it is if you give us a player, we'll kind of be the judge of
Yeah.
whether we give them tier 1 or tier 2.
Okay. I mean, of course, I have to start with picking my fellow Norwegian on my team, Jacob.
Okay.
Get him
I
in
think,
there.
I mean, he's so yeah, he's just so good for being 30 years old. You know, like he's playing like he's 23. You know,
Yeah.
so for sure I have to pick Jacob. One of the best teammates I've played with as well. Like funny guy, always in good mood, and really enjoy playing with him. So going for a little bit of age here with that pick. So with going for that age, I think I need to compensate and pick myself
Yep.
so I can pull it down. So it's me and Jacob, and then I need an AWPer, and I honestly think, and now I can't pick anyone from my
No,
team
that's
as well,
it.
right?
You're done.
Okay, yeah, now I'm done. I mean, I think, I mean, I'm not sure if this is tier 2, but Hades, is that allowed?
Who?
Hades. Are we allowing Hades?
Hades?
Hades. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, I wouldn't
Nah.
give him that. Nah,
Nah,
that's too far.
I'd say it's on the line. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely. Yeah, I'd say maybe not. Yeah.
Okay, I try to be cheeky with
Yeah.
it, you know? Try to be cheeky with it. No, but actually, now that I'm looking at the rankings, I would pick my. He just. I'm not sure if he has joined or if he's just trialing or stepping in, but Slend for Game
Slend?
Legend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's on trial, and then what is it? Andu came up from the academy team as well. So yeah, he's
Yeah.
been even since Mal's NXT, he's been putting up some good
Yeah.
performances.
I played a lot with him and Face It and stuff like this. I think he's a smart player and very, very individually good as well. So it's an easy choice for me. And then okay, so we have Jacob. He's gonna be the guy that runs. You know, like you just need to follow him. We have the AWPer. We have the in-game leader. So now we basically need like 2 more, maybe 1 more aggressive player. And I mean, of course, let's just go for Heavy God. I talked about him.
Yeah, get him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely doable.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not sure if Slen played with him in Endpoint.
Nah,
Maybe?
No, I think it was at a different time,
it's
right?
After,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And then because we have a Heavy God that's a good shooter, we have Jacob, good shooter, Slend. Now I'm thinking like we need a guy that's like willing to do the shit things with me, you know, like we need who's that gonna be? Just trying to look at the AGL TV rankings because I can't get anyone up in my mind.
Oh, to be fair, they actually did play on Endpoint together for about 5 months, Ryan.
Oh, really?
Towards because obviously he went out for Switcher at the end of the year.
Ah, yes, of course.
And then MHL went over to Falcons. So yeah, so they've got a little bit of a dynamics. You got 2 cores or 2 players that have played with one another.
Yeah. I mean, this one is probably gonna be on the edge as well, but Gulf from Liquid. Is that tier 1? Yeah.
To be fair,
I mean,
Josh, look, I'm gonna say this, right, and I'm gonna say
Yeah.
Liquid is a tier 1 team, right? Skulls hasn't played enough in Liquid to be classed as a tier 1 player. Like, if someone right now asks me, are you putting Skulls in tier 2 or tier 1? I can't give him tier 1, so he has to go tier 2.
Yeah,
So I think I'd accept it.
Yeah. If we're gonna deny Hades, then I reckon we allow Skulls in there.
It's actually a very decent team, to be fair.
Yeah, there's no trolling at all. Yeah.
I mean, I think that Skulls, like, I look at him play, like, he's doing some roles that's, like, not supposed to be the hard carry, and I think he's doing them really good. So, I mean, I think that guy is really good when I look at him play. So, I'm pretty happy with my team.
Yeah.
Okay. Apeks next year, right? Let's make it happen. Come the summer break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roster mania.
Apeks, pay up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, nice lineup there.
Decent. Fair enough.
Hmm.
That's probably one of the more competent like tier 2 teams that we've had as well.
Yeah,
we've had some
very
troll
ones
ones
in the past. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a lot of like 5 AWPers on the team, or just 5-star players, no in-game leader.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
just
So,
but I'm
yeah,
in-game leader, so I have to think about it,
Yeah.
how the dynamics are gonna work.
apes in a zoo, mate. That's what some of the previous picks were. But
Just
fair
go
enough.
in there and frag. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sense, for joining us. I think that's about it, Josh. Right? So
Yeah.
we'll sign off here. Thank you, Sense, for joining us, of course. Your Twitter will be linked to the Twitch chat, and it will also be on the VOD below. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Tier 2 Talk. We'll take care and see you next time, everyone. Bye bye.